Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here in Las Vegas. Good morning, Hank. How are you today?
Yesterday was as bad a day as I've ever had.
Oh, my God.
I had 3 tough beats, really tough beats, and it was as bad a day as I've ever had. Saturday was great, but yesterday, boy, ready to make you quit.
What games were that? That you had the
Well, starting with Kansas City, I had given 3.5 in the contest, and I thought I had the game won, and the quarterback lost his mind at the end of the game. I don't know what he was doing. All he had to do was let some time run off the clock and kick a field goal. And for some reason, he took the ball and ran around and ran out of bounds, which stopped the clock. And then when they went for which made the field goal tougher, he lost yardage. And then they lost communication on the field goals. Guy snapped the ball before the guy was ready, and so it gave the ball to the other side at the 40-yard line, and they had no defense, Kansas City, all day long, and Tennessee just ran the ball right down the field and won the game. It was a game Kansas City should have won. May want them later on. And Mahomes, I don't know what got into his head at the end of the game. That was one. The other game was the Green Bay game. They got robbed.
The officiating.
That was the touchdown at the end of the game, and they didn't give it to him. All the people who were watching on television said that the ball crossed the plane.
It did,
and
I saw that. It did cross.
That was a game I should have had and got taken away from me. Because I had the points in that game. And then Dallas. One of the worst coaching jobs in play selection. The quarterback's on fire. There's all-star running back couldn't gain a yard the whole game. Minnesota just zeroed in on him. And they get down, inside the 5-yard line. Second down and 2. And they're ready to at least give me a push in that game. And for some odd reason, he keeps handing the ball to Zeke, who couldn't gain a yard. Meanwhile, they had no answer in Minnesota for the passing game.
Yeah, Dak.
And all he has to do is, why take it out of the quarterback's hands? Let him tie the game up and go, and then they get a win. Those were 3 of the toughest beats I've ever had.
Well, the Green Bay game with the penalty, I didn't like the penalty when he was in the end zone and he got tackled but in the end zone and they called that a foul. I didn't think that was a foul. I think the officiating in that game was absolutely awful. And the play calling at the end of the Dallas game, Dak Prescott played an absolutely fabulous game and they took the ball out of his hands I couldn't understand that. I didn't.
3 times they went to Zeke, who was bottled up totally. They ran him twice after they had thrown the ball to get down there. Ran him twice. He got stuffed twice, and then on the 4th down play, they threw the ball to him.
I don't know who the hell's calling the plays down there for that team, but I know there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But wow, that was ridiculous.
Yep.
That was. I'm sorry, I had a tough week. We got more. The fight goes on. The flag goes up. We got to keep battling. We got a good game tonight. You got Seattle at San Francisco. That's a big battle. Very important game in the NFC. And next week we got Thursday night. I got a great game with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Cleveland finally won a game. I'm not sure they should have, but they did.
They didn't cover.
No.
But they did win a game. Now they got to play a Pittsburgh team that's playing great ball right now. Their defense is playing very well, and it makes you wonder what's up with the Rams. He's not doing a good job this year coaching that team, and the quarterback reverted to his play from 4 weeks ago, where he was turning the ball over as many times he was throwing touchdowns, and he's a turnover machine. They paid this guy all this money,
way too
and
much.
It may have been a mistake. Goff was awful in this game.
Way too much money. He was unproven. He was working in a system that was working for him. I mean, he just hit a gold mine. I mean, they guaranteed him a lot of it. These teams are just so quick to pay these guys before they're really proven. It is unbelievable how stupid they are.
Well, I'll tell you something. They had 2 weeks to get ready for that game. They weren't ready, and it makes you wonder about the job that McVay is doing, because right now the Rams are playing them out of the playoffs, and they can't beat anybody right now. But Pittsburgh's defense is good. Their quarterback, who I've been saying right along, is not that bad. He's making plays, and they won this game without their top two running backs.
Yeah, it's very.
And now Pittsburgh has now got Cleveland, and I think Pittsburgh will beat them.
Yeah, they're the underdog in that game. Cleveland opened a 3-point favorite. The line went down to 2.5 right away. I mean, I don't know, man. I tell you, this is some very strange play out there. Some very, very strange coaching this year. That's, I mean, I'm not complaining about my results, but it's hard. Some of the decisions that are being made. I mean, we got a big game next week, Houston, with Watson against Jackson. I mean, they're two very similar quarterbacks. And Baltimore is just absolutely on fire right now. They came out and just smothered. Of course, Cincinnati is terrible. Houston had a bye week. They're on the road. Baltimore opens a 4.5-point favorite, and the total 50 in that game. That's a monster game. New England's going to go down to Philly after their bye week, and New England's a 3.5-point favorite. 44.5 is the current total. Was 45.5. They're two very big games to look forward this year, and then we have a game. Don't forget, everybody. Next Monday night's game is not, and no one's at home. It's a neutral game. It's in Mexico. Kansas City and Kansas City and the Chargers. It's a neutral game. Kansas City's a 4-point favorite right now. Total is 53, 52, something in that range. So, but you might look at it and think the LA Chargers are home. They're not. It's a neutral game.
Jacksonville is also going to be changing quarterbacks this week, as Foles will be back at quarterback for them.
Yeah, there might have been an argument, at some point if Minshew would have played a little bit, but he played absolutely terrible when he was in London. He looked like a high school quarterback. And they paid a lot of money for Foles. Foles got the Super Bowl. He's got the quality history. And but they're going to go up against them. I don't know what's going to happen in Indianapolis because Hoyer did not play very well yesterday.
No, and they got to do something about the kicker. They could have won that game, but he missed more field goal attempts, and he just can't kick anymore. And it's, they've got to wake up to the fact that he's done.
Yeah,
it cost them a win against a terrible Dolphin team.
Frank Reich is showing loyalty to Vinatieri, and I understand that he's been around a long time. He's a legend. But there is a time when you have to say, hey, I work for the team. I don't work for Vinatieri. They need a new kicker. They absolutely need a new kicker. I mean, he's really off. And there's no line on that game at the moment, but I do see a kind of an outlaw line where Indianapolis is 3 and the total 44. But that's not an official number at all. So it's going to be a great week. College basketball heated up last week, so we got some really good games. We're going to have a lot more this week. NBA, of course. So it's going to. And they had the the big college football game, LSU and Alabama, was one hell of a shootout.
It was a great game for me. And I couldn't have been happier to see a team go down than to see Alabama. And you know what's great is the Minnesota story. Minnesota came and beat Penn State. I was thrilled to see that too, not just because I had it, but this Minnesota story, which is nobody's been paying much attention to. In the rankings, they are now 7th, and they will be in the Rose Bowl. I know they have to play Ohio State in a couple of weeks, and I don't expect them to beat Ohio State, but they should get the Rose Bowl bid, which is fabulous for that program. That quarterback is the real deal. He doesn't make a bad throw, and they shocked Penn State, I guess, and the Penn State followers. Penn State was pretty confident going into that game, and Minnesota just flat out played them.
They did.
So, I think I was happy to see them ranked ahead of a lot of the teams that dropped out of the top 5. But Alabama is a good chance that they're not going to be in that championship round.
It's a possibility, that's for sure.
I don't like the Alabama quarterback all that much.
Really?
I don't know what kind of a pro he's going to be. He's kind of erratic. He made a lot of bad throws in that game on Saturday.
He
was outplayed by the LSU quarterback, who looks great right now.
Yeah, he's probably the leader to win the Heisman. That kid, he's really good.
Well, I'm more concerned with the number 1 draft pick. I don't care about the Heisman.
Well, I think he's going to be the number 1 draft pick too. I think he'll get both of them. I think haven't the Heisman winners the last couple of years been the number 1 draft picks? Manziel.
I'll tell you something.
Baker Mayfield,
the Oklahoma coach, who's been talked about to be on top of everybody's list, his quarterbacks don't play all that great in the league. And I'll tell you, his quarterback is not very good right now, and they have no defense whatsoever.
No, that league.
But I watched their game, and I was totally unimpressed with their quarterback.
And that league doesn't seem to play defense. I don't think they know how to spell defense in that league. It's going to be super interesting. Well, I hate to see the football season wind down into the end and all that, but it is going to be very interesting. The NFC is loaded with talent, and there's a few teams in the AFC that will compete with the Patriots to get there. But Baltimore is a very scary team right now, the way they're playing. Very scary.
Yep.
We're seeing a transition from the old-style quarterback, the Dan Marino.
Yeah, I think we've had this conversation about the transition. But you still have plenty of guys who are the old-style quarterbacks around, too. Depends on on coaches and the style they want to play and the type of quarterback they want. I'll tell you one thing. That quarterback from LSU, he's an old-style quarterback, and they'll play, and wherever he goes, they're going to play the way he plays. Anyway, I got to run, Jim.
Okay. Have a good day, Hank. Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody. Hank had to run today. When I talk about old-style quarterbacks, what's happening in the NFL, in my opinion, is we pay a lot of money. The teams, I don't. But the teams pay a lot of money to the quarterbacks. And, of course, there's a salary cap on each team, and they don't have enough money after they pay the $30, $35 million or maybe $40 million to a quarterback. They don't have enough money to surround that player with a good offensive line, good running backs, and the team after that deteriorates after a while. Well, if you look back at last year's playoffs, other than Tom Brady, who gives a lot of his money back to the team because he has a rich family income, he can do that. The other top paid quarterbacks in the league did not even make the playoffs. So the problem is we pay too much money to quarterbacks, but we have to because they're limited. There just aren't that many of them, and then you can't protect them and you can't build a team around them. So therefore, they don't win. Well, that will change. You're going to see a transition away from that, and you're going to see more of the style quarterback that is a little bit more durable, and perhaps even they're going to go to this scheme that Lamar Jackson is working on in Baltimore. It seems to work, and if the league sees that as a possibility, the durability of these guys is a little bit greater. You don't have to protect them as much. So there's going to be a transition, but there's always a transition in everything. Tonight we got a great game. You got Garoppolo, who was once with the Patriots, along with Brissett and Tom Brady. And he's playing very good. They're 8-0. Of course, last week they played against the Cardinals, who really don't have much of a defense, and they lost yesterday to Tampa. I had Arizona. We did cover that spread, which was a nice win. Seattle's going to bring a different picture, and they're going to be tougher to play against. They're not playing Arizona, and Russell Wilson is. A lot of people think that he should win the MVP, and I would be one of them to say that. As far as the coach of the year, I know everybody talks a lot about that, and they mention a lot of names, and nobody ever mentions. And it's hard for me to even say this because I was very critical of him. John Gruden. What he's doing with the Raiders is absolutely astronomical. He doesn't have that great a team, but he has got this team playing with passion. They got the passion of a college team. I mean, they really are together, playing really great this year. But when you look at John Gruden and you look at John Harbaugh and the things that both those guys are doing this year, you really have to put them in the mix for Coach of the Year. It's going to be a great game tonight. I'm excited. We got college basketball. We got college football the weekend. Actually, we have college football during the week as well. And we got Thanksgiving right around the corner. But I want to say this, that it is Veterans Day today. And I, for one, I have 3 holidays that I really, really like. Other ones I think are a little too commercialized. They don't mean much to me. But Thanksgiving, because I think we all, in one way or another, have a lot to be thankful for. Memorial Day, for the people that gave their lives for this country and our freedom, and we all should really feel blessed for that. And the veterans, which, they're still, some of them are still with us, some not, of course, but they gave a lot. They fought hard for this country, the freedom that we have, and happy Veterans Day to everyone out there. And for Hank's Plays, my plays, Dave Koken, go to jimfeist.com. We have podcasts all week long. We put up podcast articles. And I'm having a good year. I had a good week. I thought we got a little jobbed in that Panther game, but a lot of calls went against the Panthers in that game. But that was the one loser we had on the side plays. We did have Pittsburgh. We did have Arizona. So we were happy with those plays. And tonight we have a side and total in the game. So go to jimfeist.com, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.